Good morning. It is Thursday, the 23rd of March, and we continue our little exploration of the book of the prophet Jeremiah. Today, for morning prayer, we have looked at Jeremiah chapter 22, verses 13 to 23. And in this passage, Jeremiah, or God speaking through Jeremiah, is challenging King Jehoiakim, who is the current ruler. And Jeremiah is really saying, as the ruler, you are exploiting your people. You live in plush opulence. In Jeremiah's time, that would be signified by the wooden paneling in his rooms, the rooms of the palace. And you just have everything you want, and you've taken it from your people. You have gotten them to help build your opulence, to build your palace, and yet you have not recompensed them at all. Interestingly, all of this is forbidden in the law of Israel. If you employ someone, you must pay them, and you need to pay them a fair day's wage. And you need to care for those that are poor and needy and vulnerable in your presence. And yet King Jehoiakim had not done any of this. And Jeremiah is warning him that he will be taken into captivity where he will end his life. And Jeremiah references Jehoiakim's other brother, if my memory of the family is correct. Go back to the father, Josiah, who is listed as being a good, godly king, who served the Lord and looked after and cared for the vulnerable. And this King Josiah lived a life that was wonderful and long, and he had all that he wanted. And it was because he put God first. And then his sons came to the throne, and the first son, and I cannot now remember his name, is in power for literally a matter of weeks or months, not a very long time at all, and then is taken into captivity into Egypt, and there he dies. And Jehoiakim is now about to face a similar threat. And if my memory is right of the history behind this, you can pick up some of this in the book of the readings from the Kings. I think it's 1 King somewhere. I just can't now remember the actual chapter and verse. That Jehoiakim himself dies in captivity, and he is just dumped unceremoniously like a donkey out in the wilderness. So he's not even buried. And this is the consequence of those in leadership who misuse and abuse their authority. Because with authority comes responsibility. With rights comes responsibility. And this particular lineage of kings, the sons of Josiah, had broken all the rules that they could break. And it's a somber warning for you and me if I bring this to focus on us, because in a sense, many of us listening here may well be in positions of authority. We tend to think of those who are in authority over us, and we think it only relates to them. So perhaps our politicians or the boss. But in a sense, we also have certain responsibilities. We might be the lady of the house, and we have people who work in the house under our authority. How do we treat them? We may be the manager or the boss of a company. How do we treat those that are employed by us? We might say, well, I'm a husband and I'm the boss of the house, and my wife and my children simply have to obey me, and I can demand whatever I want, and I can do whatever I want to do because I'm the boss. Well, you have rights, yes, but you also have responsibilities. You have authority, yes, but you have responsibility. How are you living up to that? And then perhaps my final example for those who are married and have children. Hopefully you're married and have children. You are a parent. You have authority over your kids. You have then certain rights, but you also have responsibilities. How are you treating your children? Do you have all the food and drink that you want, and the kids have to suffer at school because they don't have sufficient clothing? Are you caring for your kids? Now, just swamping them with the latest brands is not necessarily love. Love is firmness and boundaries, but it is caring and nurture and development. All of these things go hand in hand. So as a parent, we have responsibilities. How do we measure up in the light of what Jeremiah is saying? The particular context is very different to simply being that of a parent, but we can take that analogy and apply it into our own lives. How do we treat those around us whilst simultaneously calling ourselves Christians, and we head off to church on a Sunday, trying to look all holy and fancy? Meanwhile, our life behind closed doors, outside of church, leaves a lot to be desired. God is watching, God cares, and God wants the best for you, but you do need to operate according to his precepts and laws and the boundaries that God has set for us. Folks, a challenging message, but one I think which is very real. Don't just blame the politicians. Look to yourself as well. Have a wonderful day. We'll chat again tomorrow. God bless.